Hey guys, this is going to piggyback off the video I did earlier today about the wild edibles, okay? So whenever you're seeing this video, this is about the video that I did on wild edibles, okay? I talked about plantain, broad plantain, and narrow plantain. I talked about dandelion greens, okay? And sow thistle, all right? Just to get you guys started with identifying wild edibles, wild weeds, okay? So what I didn't add in that video is another way that you can identify things that the Most High, the Father, created in order for us to eat is there are codes basically in the food. One thing I noticed with the wild edibles, guys, is most wild weeds that you can eat, okay, they are shaped like other things in nature, okay? Now, we're getting into sacred geometry, okay, and the golden ratio, all right? Look into those things, okay? And that's basically how life, many forms of life, happen to be in certain shapes and patterns, okay? And how the Father, the Most High, created life, and it's basically life is coded or it's imprinted based on certain shapes, okay? And yeah, certain shapes and sequences and things of that nature that just so happen to be throughout nature. A while ago I did a video on how the universe was formed, you know, trying to give some perspective, you know, and I was talking about how vibration. So first there was the word. If you read the Bible, you know it said first there was the word. So that's a vibration. That's a sound, okay? And sound, vibration, and frequency, if you look into it, it's kind of circular. If you were to look at the sun, I talked about how if you look at the sun, put your sunglasses on, you know, but if you were able to just look directly at the sun, right, you'll notice how the energy coming from the sun is in a frequency, is in like a circular like vortex or vibration, okay? And many other things in life take this shape and this pattern, okay? So if you look at some of the wild edibles, if you look at dandelion greens, if you look at you know, sow thistle and plantain and things like that, you'll notice that it does have a pattern, okay? It reminds you of a star. There's plenty weeds that look like a star. You looking down on the weeds, they look like a star if you really pay attention, okay? It's like a star pattern or formation, okay? I don't think that's a coincidence. I think, you know, if you think on it, that just may be a way that the Father helps us identify what's edible before anybody else can tell you. I mean, I know now we can go to the internet and look things up. We can go to different books and things, but you got to think about our ancestors, okay? How was they to know what they could eat, okay? They were the pioneers, the forerunners for us today to have certain information so we can go and make reference to things. But who were the first people able to reference other than the Father, okay? So I feel like I talk about numbers and things like that, and how the Father can communicate with you in those ways, so we can learn from the Most High through his creations, you know, not only just ourselves but the life around us. Now, the reason I believe another point that I didn't mention in the first video that is very important is you don't have to go hungry, because you notice another thing with weeds, we like to think of weeds as pesty plants based on the fact that that, you know, they grow so easy, they grow so wild, they grow so abundantly. But the reason that is because the Father, you know, he creates abundance, okay? And so it's created and it grows abundantly and fast and easy like that because it's easy food, okay? It's easy food that's plentiful for everyone, okay? And it doesn't take long for it to grow, so you don't have to wait on harvest and things of that nature, okay? It grows within days, you know what I mean? Overnight, some weeds overnight. That's why you always hear people say, man, you growing like a weed, when you was a teenager or something, you hit a growth spurt, because it grows fast. Another thing is, people hate weeds because for other plants that they are intentionally trying to grow, the weeds, you have to pull the weeds around that plant, because otherwise the weeds take all the nutrients from what you are intentionally trying to grow. So with that said, is that's just like anything else. It's the fittest, right? So you're more so worried about something that you're intentionally trying to grow, that's going to take long and specific circumstances for it to grow. You know what I mean? You got to get rid of the weeds. The soil got to be like this. This got to be like this. You know what I mean? And you neglect the fact that should not be eating a thing that's thriving, right? That's surviving, that's thriving. Okay, if I'm trying to grow I'm gonna just use anything. If I'm trying to grow my squash, but I gotta pluck all these weeds around the squash that's thriving and growing and taking all the nutrients, shouldn't I be eating the thing or the plant that is taking up all the nutrients? If I want nutritionally dense food, or abundant food, nutritiously abundant food, right? It just makes sense. So don't get rid of those weeds, guys. Get used to them, okay? Get used to them. Eat them, because they're extremely healthy, okay? And they're extremely resilient, all right? And that's going to help your immune system and your body, okay? We are what we eat, all right? And so that's just another way. But to get back to to cap everything off, to get back to the golden ratio, sacred geometry, and things like that, try to look for life's patterns when you're searching for food, okay? Or searching for wild edibles. Look for the pattern, because 9 times out of 10, if you can find that pattern, so if it looks like a star to you, if it's a bunch of a specific weed, if it takes that star pattern, or a sacred geometrical pattern, or a golden ratio pattern, you know what I mean, then 9 times out of 10, that's something that's with chi, with life force, and that's a way of the Father letting you know that's something that you can eat. All right. Just kind of look at it that way, and like I said, so look into golden ratio and look into sacred geometry and stuff like that, so you can have a better understanding of what I'm talking about, because it just makes sense. All right. So that's another way, another key point, and identifying, having a way to identify what you can eat. If you have nothing to reference, if you have no internet, if you have no book, that's a way that you can also, or that's something that you can also take into consideration. Okay, hopefully this was a helpful video, guys. Peace.